Hey y'all, I'm Elisa, the Scrappy Wife behind ScrappyWife.com, and this is part 2 of my craft room renovation series. I am currently renovating my basement to be my dream craft space, and you can see my husband working on a solution for an issue that came up. Now, if you haven't watched part 1 of the series, you're definitely going to want to check that out. This is part 2, which is supposed to be moving day for me, moving all my things in. But in the closet of the craft room, I had planned to have Alex drawers. I did not realize that different size Alex drawers had different dimensions, meaning that the longer drawers that are on wheels didn't match up with the drawers that were used as the base of a desk. So we had to come up with a creative solution, and I am actually in love with the solution that we came up with. This is a piece of butcher block that my husband is cutting corners out of so that we can install it as a countertop. I had planned on just having all the Alex drawers line up and then just using the tops of them as the countertop for in the closet, but they weren't lining up and they were not looking great. And so my solution was to add another butcher block. I love butcher block in the craft room, and I'm thankful that my husband helped me kind of figure out the situation on how we could cut some notches to work around some of the molding in the closet. It was really difficult to get this in. You're going to see it come together in a moment, but I'm so thankful that he helped me work on this little solution. I was able to keep the Alex drawers we already had and the Alex drawers that I had already put together, and it works really well, and it's a great surface that all of my cutting machines are going to sit on. While he was working on this project, I took the opportunity to move all of my stickers down. This is kind of a dream to have all my stickers be able to be in one place, really easily accessible with the different categories. I still need to go through and kind of revamp some of the categories. It got a little bit mishmashed at the end of my time in my old craft studio, just because after being on the Happy Planner squad, I have so many stickers and I was running out of space, so things just got put kind of wherever I could fit them. Love how this turned out, and then I actually have some more sticker boxes that I'm able to put and fill up the rest of the space now. So ta-da, sticker books. All right, here is a little bit of an update. You can see we made a ton of progress yesterday. So things we did. We have the Alex drawers set up over here. This is going to be where the cutting machines are, and I hadn't planned on this. This was kind of a spur of the moment thing that I'm super excited that we did. This is a butcher block that we bought. I think it's 8 feet long. We cut it down and carved it out, and now I have this extra countertop right here, which is super cool. The large Alex drawers will roll out if necessary, and I think that's going to be super great. So that is set. We still need to cut some holes in the butcher block to feed cords through, so I'll do that later. Then the big, obviously, change is that we added cabinetry yesterday, and I'm beside myself. I'm so very excited about all this storage. We still have, this is just MDF on top. We had to special order a 10-foot long piece of butcher block to go on the top, and that won't be here for another week or so. So I wanted to go ahead and put something there so that I could figure out what's going to go where. So did that. Let's see what else got done. We have doors on the bookcases right there, and they are officially attached to the wall. Stickers were moved down, planners were moved down. Not everything is organized yet, but the goal today is to get things in their general place, to have kind of a big moving day, and to deal with this situation, which I know this is like, kind of makes my stomach hurt. All of this, except for all the tools and stuff, will be going up in my old craft room. So I got to work on that. But first I got to get the old stuff out of my craft room. So that's coming down. You can see over here, I bought all the home edit things, a ton of the home edit things. So I'm going to be using those to help organize in the space. So today, big moving day. That's the plan. I'm going to start hauling things down. I'll probably fill up countertops and then start putting things away and kind of just go back and forth and see how it goes getting things done during the day. So I will update you guys, maybe record a little bit as I'm organizing. And this is really going to be like the first round of organizing. I think you can't thoroughly know where things should go until you're like in the space. So I have a plan, or I had a plan, and we're just going to see how that plan kind of works out. So let's get moving. If you have ever seen one of my clean with me videos, you know that when I am cleaning my craft room, I like to move in a circle around the room. I like to start on one wall and kind of move through the room. And that is what I did as I was moving all of my craft supplies down from the old craft studio. But the first thing I wanted to do was get this pegboard set up, just because my pegboard has always been such a big part of my craft room, so important to me. It makes a really big impact. And so I moved all of the pieces from my pegboard downstairs. They were kind of cluttering the desktop that was still upstairs, and I figured I'm going to go ahead and put this together. It took a little experimenting, and I had taken a picture of what the pegboard looked like before I took everything down, and still it didn't end up in the same places, which I think is hilarious, but that's okay. There were some paints and things that I had on this pegboard that had dried up, that I had not used, that were serving more as decoration than actual craft supplies. So I was able to go through these. This was an excellent chance to go through my supplies, see what was still working, see what wasn't working anymore, what had dried up, and then change those things out. Before I began moving supplies down, I had a plan. I had a plan for kind of zone areas in this craft studio. It is a really large craft studio. I'm super excited. I have a lot of storage in here, and so I had zones planned. However, once I got to actually put things in the space, then my plans changed ever so slightly. And so I always encourage people in the organization course that I have over on Teachable, which I will link down below. I talk about making a plan, having a plan, and then being flexible as you start moving things around and putting things in place, because you may be surprised at what fits, what doesn't fit. And that certainly was the case with me. I didn't like how certain things looked in certain ways, or where they were located in relation to other things. It was an interesting kind of puzzle to work out. So for instance, I wanted most of my planner supplies all together. I have two bookcases. One is full of planners, one is full of planner stickers. I wanted my planner supplies to be located near there. And so I thought this upper cabinet was perfect, but it turns out that really didn't fit my planner supplies, and it did fit a lot of my mixed media supplies. So that's what you're going to see here. I have some risers. These are the home edit ones. They're a little bit deeper than I actually need. Each of the shelves is pretty deep, so I think I could probably change these out for something that was designed for craft supplies a little bit better. But this is going to be a great place to hold all of my distress oxides. Previously, my distress oxides had been out on display in my craft room. It doesn't bother me that they're going to be put away. Yes, they're beautiful and I loved seeing them. However, it doesn't bother me they're going to be away, because they're still beautiful as soon as I open up the closet. I did use the old laundry basket method to do a lot of my moving. I feel like a lot of people have done that. If you've been moving like across town, or just, changing rooms in an apartment, you kind of know that the laundry baskets are really functional. So these are papers. These are all handmade papers that my husband and I created when we were in Italy, and I had them on display on the back of my old craft room door. I'm not going to have them on display here. These are going to fit really well in an Alex drawer. I honestly don't use them very much. I just love having them. And so I'm going to roll them. You can still see the patterns on them. I think this is actually going to protect them a little better. They were open to the elements in my old craft room, and definitely were dusty and had some things happen with the light touching them and things like that. Not very much, but I can see if I had them out for a long period of time, that would probably happen. So instead, these are going to be stored in the Alex drawers. And what I end up doing is one set of Alex drawers is going to be full of paper and paper pieces. One of them is going to be full of Cricut supplies. Okay, so you're going to see my husband make an appearance again. Thankful for him, he is helping me install this vintage ladder. So this is a ladder that I picked up at a vintage at a vintage shop, I guess you would say, kind of a vintage yard. And it's just a really cool looking ladder. We added the acrylic fronts, and it is where I like to store my vinyl. So he's attaching it to the wall. Really, the rungs hold the vinyl okay. It probably also needs like a little shelf on there attached to the rungs, and that might be something that I do at a later time. But he's attaching it to the wall, and then you'll see me kind of loading up the vinyl. While he's doing that, I am unwrapping a lot of the storage pieces that I purchased and just seeing what fits where. So in my old craft room, I had a lot of things in iris book, like iris cases. And so I'm taking them out, we're moving them, putting them in some different areas, and I'm just trying to figure out what is going to go where, what storage pieces fit where. It was really tricky changing things out, making room for more display than I had before, it was interesting to spread out my supplies, I guess I would say. So often I had to work really hard in my old space to make room for everything, and it was packed. It was filled to the brim. Now I have room to spread out a little bit, to let my supplies breathe, you might say, and that changes how I see them and how I use them. I'm really thankful for that. And so trying to figure out how I can spread them out and not be wasteful with the space, but really just use it in a way that's going to optimize my creativity. That's what I played with a lot during the day that I was moving all the things. All right, did you notice the light change in the closet? So I do have LED lights that line the inside of that closet. They can be changed to a variety of different colors. I prefer them to stay on this bright white color. It's really helpful to have additional lighting in your storage places. So we will be adding lighting to other parts of this craft room as we kind of take care of some of the details. You can see me sorting cards, trying to get everything in its new place in an organized way, going through, and this is again a great time to kind of de-stash. And I definitely was gathering supplies for my patrons. I had 21 of them that received de-stash packages this particular month. Look how dusty everything was. I had to dust as I went. So I had 21 of them that received de-stash packages because I definitely just de-stashed as I went, going through my supplies, looking to see what I really wanted, what I really used, all of those different things. I love when there's a happy coincidence like the fact that this ladder fits perfectly on the side of the Murphy bed. That is a Murphy bed to my left, that big white piece of furniture. This is also going to serve as our guest room when we have parents or people staying with us, and so we needed a bed in here, and I thought a Murphy bed would look a little bit better than a full-on couch. So I like it because it gives me some extra space, like workspace or just space to put things as I'm working on videos and things like that. So, but having it positioned on the wall and then figuring out that the ladder fits perfectly to the side of it was one of those happy coincidences that just reminded me, like, this is totally what this is supposed to be. This room just came together and I'm just loving it. So you can see I had a few issues getting the vinyl to stay on the rungs. I don't use vinyl a whole lot, but I do every now and then. So it's nice to have it right there on hand to see the colors that I have. All right, so I had some random clothes storage that I had no idea what was there. So going through all the different pieces, and I had a lot of journals, things that were on a bookcase before, but I'm relocating them. So it was a challenge using my same pieces like the card catalog, but putting different things on there. And that can be a challenge when you're rearranging your space. I often encourage people to try to start with a blank slate, meaning that take away all your supplies. So if you want to reposition a bookcase, take everything off of it and reimagine it. Sit with it empty for a little bit because you're so used to seeing it filled with a certain thing that it can be hard to think of a new way to use that piece. So for me, all of my stickers were on the shelf that was below my card catalog. That's where I had all my planning stickers. And so figuring out what I wanted to put there was a little bit more of a challenge. I'm also able to pull out things and have them in these clear containers in a way that makes them more usable, easier to grab, pull out for projects, and I'm pretty excited about that. And I feel like I can use some of these supplies a little bit more. Now, as I'm putting things away, I'm considering how often do I use these? Not very. They can go up higher. Do I use something a lot? Cool. It needs to be right at my eye level, things like that. That's what I'm considering as I'm figuring out where I can store all of these different products. All right, let's have a little midday check-in. I have a lot of things. I've been moving stuff for 4 hours, still working on moving things, putting things away, starting to find where I think I want things. So as of right now, this set of Alex drawers is all Cricut related. This one's a little bit miscellaneous right now. This one is going to be all paper related. We're going to do stamps up here. Inks will be right here eventually. This will all be stamping related in here. And then paper is going to be in there. Nothing here yet. This is going to be, there's a bunch of planner stuff right here that's going to end up getting spread out, I think, in stickers. That's what's going to be there. We have all planner related things in here. It's going to go to mixed media in that drawer. And then this is going to be mixed media. And everything else is pretty much the same. So I'm going to keep working. I'm tired. That's a lot of stuff to be moving, but I'm about maybe just over halfway through my craft room. So we're going to keep moving things down here and getting organized. The second half of moving day was very much a whirlwind. Any parent can tell you that when you're going against the clock of when you have to pick up kids from school, you start to move really fast. And that was definitely the case. There were lots of laundry baskets that came up and down the stairs. I have never climbed more stairs than moving all of my craft supplies. I'm moving things around in drawers. I'm changing my minds, but when I have it in those clear containers, it makes it really easy to move supplies from drawer to drawer as I change my mind and figure out where things should go. So I end up with most of my planner supplies all the way to the right in those lower cabinets. In the cabinets that I'm working on now that have those drawers, that's going to be a lot of mixed media pieces, which I'm loving, and they are close to the sprays. I have a whole area for stamping, a whole drawer for stamping and embossing that work out really well for me as well. It's fun to just be able to move things around, and I'm not gonna lie, I got everything in place and then I move things again, and I'm already planning on kind of going cabinet by cabinet and reorganizing and refining what I have in there, just because I feel like you should let yourself live in the space, create in the space, see what's working for you at that point, and then make some final decisions about where everything is going to live, where it's most functional, things like that. I will say there is something very therapeutic about lining things up in rainbow order, which is what I was doing right here. I ended up emptying out this clear acrylic tower from scrapbook.com, and I actually don't have a place for it yet. So I did hold on to a few of the organization pieces that I had in my old craft room. I'm not currently using them in this space, but I didn't ditch them right away. I have them all in a box, kind of waiting to see, like, what is going to work here, what makes sense, do I need to use this? Plus they were definitely pieces that I had put money into. Some of the storage that I had and loved before I still think is going to work, but I just haven't quite figured out where I want it yet. For a while, I did have all of my paper in that lower left-hand cabinet. I have since moved it. That was silly to put my paper in a place that was behind closed doors. It made no sense. I don't know why I would have done that. That is like breaking one of my cardinal rules, which is put the supplies you use the most where you can see them, because things that are hidden away, you tend to not grab for. And all of my paper was not only not at eye level, but it was like behind closed doors, kind of hard to get to. It was a poor decision. So I do end up moving it later on, and you will see that as I continue on in the craft renovation series. I will say, by some small miracle, by the end of this day, I did have all of my craft supplies moved down to the basement. I had all of the kids' pieces moved up to their brand new kid hangout room, which they are actually loving, and I'm so glad they love it. You will see in part 3 of this video how I fill in and finish some of the detail things in the room. You'll see the other half of this room that we haven't really paid attention to yet. So be sure to check out part 3 when it comes out, and then we will definitely have a final tour so I can give you some insight into my new craft space. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Consider hitting that subscribe button as well as the bell notification button. Make sure to let me know what questions you have down below, what you want to see in part 3 and in the final tour. I would love to share that with you. Huge shout out to my patrons. Thank you so much for all of your support, and I hope that all of you have a fabulous day. And as always, keep it creative.